Hello everyone. So in today's session we are going to focus on list and array list. Okay? But before that, let's understand the concept with simple real life example. Imagine you are using online grocery shopping app. Okay? And you search for some products and start adding them to your shopping list or shopping cart. So first product is face wash, shampoo and rice. And while checking your list, you suddenly realize, oh, I forgot to add sugar. So you add sugar. Then by mistake, you add shampoo again. And then suddenly you remember, I don't want sugar at this moment. Then you can simply remove the sugar from your list or cart. Now, if you observe this list carefully, the items are maintained in a specific order. That means items are added in specific order. As well as you can easily add new items, you can easily remove items, and most importantly, duplicate items are allowed because shampoo can appear more than one, right? Now imagine your client asks you to build this same grocery shopping application. Then you start thinking you need a data structure that can fulfill all these requirements, right? And data structure means array list, linked list, vector. So which data structure fulfill all these requirements? So our requirements are simple. We need a data structure that maintain order, allow duplicates, and let us add and remove elements easily. Now the question is, which data structure can fulfill all these requirements? And this is where list and array list come into the picture. So in this session, we will learn what is list interface, what are the important characteristics of list interface, what is array list, what are the important characteristics of array list with practical approach, and finally, let us look at some important interview questions based on this topic. Okay, so let's get started. So first, let's understand what is a list interface with real life example. Okay, so the list interface is the part of Java collection framework which define rules for storing and managing a list of objects. So in simple word, we can say that the list interface is a contract because it is an interface, right? An interface doesn't provide the implementation. It's only define the rules and methods that its implementing classes must follow, right? And therefore we can say list interface is a contract or blueprint that tells to its implementation classes like array list, linked list, and vector what rules and methods they must follow. For example, imagine your college conduct an exam. For that, university provide some set of rules such as the exam should be 3 hours. Every student must write their roll number and answer must be written in answer sheet, right? So different colleges conduct the exam, but every college must follow the same rules that university provide, right? Similarly, the list interface define some set of rules and methods that its implementing classes like array list, linked list, vector can follow those rules. Okay, and don't worry, I will provide notes on it, so only focus on the understanding the concept. Okay, now the question is, what are these rules? So the list interface define the following rules. So the first rule is a list maintain the insertion order. This means the elements are stored in the same order in which they are added. For example, imagine you are developing an online grocery shopping application like Blinkit or Big Basket, and a customer adds the following item to the shopping cart: rice, milk, and bread. Then what should happen? The item should appear in the same order in which the customer added. That means the list store them in the same order. It does not change their order automatically because list maintain insertion order. Okay, clear? And the second rule is list allow duplicate elements. This means you can store same object more than one. For example, if customer add rice, milk, bread and again add milk. So here milk atom is stored 2 times because the customer want to buy 2 packets of milk and list will allow it to add because list allow duplicate elements. No problem at all. And the third characteristic of list interface is it support index based access. That means every element has an index. Starting from 0. Using this index, we can easily access any element. And don't worry, I will explain it practically. So basically, list interface support index-based access. Okay. And the fourth characteristics of list interface or the fourth rule of list interface is it allow multiple null values. That means there is no object stored at that position. So basically the null value means there is no object stored at that position and list allow it without any problem. Code compiles fine. This also I will show you practically. So the fourth rule of list interface is it allow null value. Okay. So these are the basic rules or features or characteristics defined by the list interface. So simply keep in mind any class that implement the list interface such as ArrayList, linked list and vector must follow these rules. But the only difference is how they implement them internally. That means the internal working of ArrayList, linked list, vector is different. We will discuss it later in the future session. Okay, clear? Now let's understand the most commonly used implementation class of the list interface is ArrayList. Okay, so further in this session we are going to discuss what is ArrayList and characteristics of ArrayList. So what is ArrayList? ArrayList is a class, or we can say ArrayList is an implementation class of list interface that already we have discussed in collection framework architecture, right? So ArrayList is an implementation class of list interface that store multiple elements in a list and its size can grow or shrink automatically. It means it resizes automatically as we add or remove elements. And you will understand ArrayList even better when I explain the internal working of ArrayList, how it's automatically resize itself internally when needed. And I will cover the internal working of ArrayList in the next video. Okay, so for now simply keep in mind ArrayList is an implementation class of list interface that store multiple elements in a list and its size can grow or shrink automatically as we add or remove elements. Or as an interview perspective, you can say ArrayList is a class in Java that implements the list interface and store elements in a resizable array. This is a strong one-line interview definition. Okay, so we already know that ArrayList implements the list interface, and we also know that a list maintain insertion order, allow duplicates elements, support index-based access, and allow null values, right? Now let's understand some important features or characteristics of ArrayList. So we will see it practically so that you will clearly understand it. Okay, so let's come into the Eclipse. So let's create ArrayList. and it's suppose string list new array list. See here, it's automatically import java.util.ArrayList because ArrayList is available in util package. Okay, so here this create an array list which store these string values, and this specify the type of elements that the array list can store, or in simple words, it tells to Java that the array list can store string values only. So basically this string is called as a generic type. Okay, and here list is an reference variable, and this part will create an actual array list object that will store on heap memory. So in this way we can create array list. Now let's discuss the features or characteristics of array list. So the first important feature of array list is its dynamic size. For example, let's add some elements to the list. So list dot add, suppose milk. List dot add rice, and add one more element, and is suppose list dot add bread or toast. Okay, so here as we add more elements, array list can automatically grow when required. That means we don't need to specify the size. Even here I haven't specified any size. So as we keep adding elements, array list automatically grow when required. Okay, and suppose if I remove some elements, so list dot remove. Suppose if I remove milk, then the size of list decrease accordingly. That's why we call array list is a resizable or dynamic data structure, because its size can change as elements are added or removed. So we cannot see it actually what happened internally, but when I will explain the internal working of array list in the next session, then you will clearly understand it. Okay, and another feature of array list is it maintain insertion order. So as we discussed before, array list follow the list interface, right? And list interface maintain the insertion order. That's why by default array list also maintain the insertion order. For example, here we add some elements to the list: milk, rice and toast, right? So the output will be milk, rice and toast because it maintains the insertion order. Okay, so let's check it out. So let's type here sysout list. Okay, and now let's run the code. So if you can see here, the elements appear in the same order in which we added them, right? So remember, array list maintain insertion order. And another feature of array list is array list allow duplicate elements, because obviously it implements the list interface, and list interface define this rule that already we have discussed. Okay, so if here we add milk element again, okay, so here I have add milk 2 times, right? And now let's run the code. As you can see, code compiled fine without any error, and we got an expected output. So here both milk element can be stored. There is no problem with duplicates. Okay, and another feature is array list support index based access. That means array list internally use array. That's why array list store elements using indexes. Remember, the index start from 0. So here milk is at 0 index, rice is at 1 index, toast is at 2 index, and milk is at 3 index. So if we want to access milk at 0 index, then it return milk. So let's check it out. So let's access the milk which is at 0 index. Okay, so for that there is one method and it's list dot get, and milk is at 0 index, right? So let's write here 0. That's it. And now let's run the code and let's see. As you can see here, we access the milk element which is at 0 index. So in this way, ArrayList support index-based access. That means we can access any element using its index. And this is one of the important advantage of ArrayList, because ArrayList uses an array internally, and therefore accessing an element using its index is very fast. And the another feature of ArrayList is ArrayList allow to store null value. That means if we add list dot null and let's run it. So as you can see, the null value is added to the list without any error. That means ArrayList allow to store null values. Okay, or we can store more than one null values also. That means ArrayList allow to store multiple null values. Okay, so these are the characteristics of ArrayList. Now let's look at some important interview questions that are commonly asked on this topic. So the first question is, what is the list interface? So you can simply say the list interface is a part of the Java collection framework which define the rules and methods for storing and managing a list of objects. Okay. And another question is, what is ArrayList? So you can say ArrayList is a class in Java that implements the list interface and store elements in a resizable array. Okay, this answer is enough. And another question is, what are the characteristics of ArrayList? So you can simply say it has a dynamic size, it grow and shrink automatically, it maintain the insertion order, it allow duplicate elements, and it support the index based access, and it allow to store null values. Okay, and the next question is, does ArrayList allow duplicate elements? So yes, ArrayList allow duplicate elements. The another question is, does ArrayList maintain insertion order? So yes, ArrayList maintain insertion order because ArrayList implement list interface, right? And list interface define this feature. That's why by default ArrayList also maintain insertion order. Okay, all right. And the last question is, does ArrayList allow null values? So as ArrayList allow null values, and multiple null values can also be stored. That already I have explained practically. Right? That's all guys. In the next video we are going to discuss a very important topic from an interview perspective, and it's internal working of ArrayList. How ArrayList work internally. We will understand its internal working step by step and see what actually happened behind the scene. Okay, so let's continue this in the next video. Okay, and if you have any question regarding to this session, feel free to leave them in the comment box. I will be active for the 2 hours after the video is uploaded to answer your question. Okay, and if you like this video, please like, share and subscribe to this channel. It motivates me a lot to make such useful videos for you. Now I'm going to end here. See you in the next video. Until then, keep learning, keep growing, and thank you so much for watching.